All right, we've had a few questions about the boat that we're going to be taking away this year. It's the morning that we're leaving, so we're pretty excited. We bought this boat in 2022. We had a fair bit of a search to try and find something between 6 and 6.5. We went and approached a few custom build places. Time frames for us were going to be sort of 9 to 12 months. This is a 610 Territory Legend. They had these on the shelf pretty much, so the decision was made just to purchase one of these straight off the factory floor. We fitted it out with the 175 Yami. I think the boats are plated to 175, but you can have them replated to take 200. So we put the 175 on it. The fuel economics and the charts and everything look pretty good with the 175, so we didn't think we'd need to actually put the 200 on it. We'll start at the back here. We've got the 1 kilowatt transducer. We've got the 3-in-1 that's linked to, we're running 2 HDS 16s, Lowrances. We put some extra lights on the back here for squidding and stuff like that. They light up, they've got a neon blue in them. They've also just got a white light. So down the track, I think we will put some trim tabs on this boat. Just to try and level it out in the ocean, and we'll probably put a jacking plate on it just in case we're in some shallow water, but we haven't had any trouble yet. And in the area that we live in, we've got the Bidgie, the Walkall, the Darling, the Edwards, and this boat's been up every single one of them. So if anybody knows those rivers, they're quite small rivers. All right, let's jump up, have a bit of a look around in here. So like I said, we're running the 2 HDS 16s. They're linked. I've got another one that goes up front there. They're linked to the active target, and also those transducers down the back. We put in the JL audio, an amp, some good speakers, so that sound system goes pretty well. We opted for the extra fuel tank, so we've got an auxiliary tank down the bottom back here. So we've got 120 in the front tank and then 120 in the back tank, so we can hold 240, and then we usually cart another 40 litres with us on the back there. So a few of the other modifications we've done, we've put an oven in here. We literally live out of that. We'll show you the meals that we've prepared to go on this trip, but not having to cart pans and gas cylinders and all that sort of stuff, trying to live out of a dirty pan that's sat in the front of the boat for days on end, you end up with a bellyache pretty quick, and we learnt that quite early in our trip. So we've put the oven in there. You'll see us using that a lot during the trip, but that's a game changer for us. On this side, we put a rod locker in. That holds 5 rods. Just got a noodle in there, but yeah, it holds 5 rods. You can get a 7.7 in there because I've drilled holes through the sidewall there. On the back here, this is about the only frustrating thing about this big boat, this big Quintrex, is the storage. There's not a great amount of storage in it as far as being able to put lure trays, places and stuff, because the whole floor is pretty much taken up with fuel tanks. So that's the only real storage. You can use this little section down the back here for your batteries. You can put these 2 batteries down in there if you wanted to. I've left them up here just because we didn't really need the space. We preferred where they sat, so they're easy access to charge and whatever you need to do. I'm running 2 lithium batteries at the back here. They're 120 amp hour, and then I've got a 24 volt lithium that runs the Minn Coda up the front here. I've also added a charging system from the engine all the way to the front here, so it sits up underneath the front here and charges that lithium battery all the time. And I don't think I've ever plugged that in. That motor keeps it, because the areas that we fish are all tiled areas, so we don't use the Minn Coda for trawling or anything. We pretty much just use the motor, so that gets used a lot anchoring out in the ocean and using it at creeks and things like that. In the front here, we've got an 80 litre Ingle. It fits in there perfectly, literally perfectly. So that keeps the beers nice and cold, and any fish in it that we want to keep. It's got another big storage compartment up the front here. We just keep life jackets, and it's got that big lithium battery that I spoke about in there. All right, that's about it, I think. Yeah, it's a nice boat. It does ride very dry. It's not a wet boat at all. The old boat that we used to have was a pretty wet boat, so We wanted something big enough that we can go out wide, chase the pelagics offshore, and then also, like I said, get up those little creeks and rivers. And this thing's been in a metre of water across the floodplain Yabbian too, so you know it'll pretty much run in not much water. And yeah, I think fuel consumption we can do about, I think on average we sit on about 55 kilometres an hour at about 1.6, so it's not too bad fuel consumption too. So we've opted for the heaviest duty Quintrex trailer that they build for this size boat. I think we need to do a few upgrades to suspension and things like that, because we've only owned it a year and I'm not that happy with it, but we do go pretty off-road. So come up the front here. This is a pretty cool feature too. We got the quick catch release boat loader. So if you're by yourself, you can flick that up, drive the boat straight on. It clicks over, it hooks onto the boat. You can walk out, do the boat up, and yeah, you can load it all by yourself. It is a pretty cool feature. Whoever designed that was thinking outside the box, that's for sure. Got some lights on the front there. They're not that great for traveling and that, but finding the boat trailer and getting it up the boat ramp, they come in handy. So we were talking about the oven earlier. This is the preparation that we do before we go. This is a 60-litre ingle chock block full of lasagnas, curry snags, shepherd's pie, you name it, we've got it. But that is a game changer for us, not living out of servos and eating different food to what we would usually eat when we do travel. We find that packing these, you can just throw them in the oven 2 hours out from when you need a meal, and you're not stopping, you're not mucking around, you're not thinking about the next meal. You've got everything at your disposal. We've got another 40-litre ingle on the back seat full of meals as well. I think we cooked 60 odd meals, so that'll get us through hopefully the first 2 weeks, and then we'll reset and start to plan the next lot of meals that we're going to take with us. So they really are a game changer. If we know we're going to be out in the boat for 4 days and we're going to sleep out there, we'll just take enough meals for those meals during the time that we're going to spend out on the ocean. And yeah, you're not mucking around. You just leave them frozen. As soon as you're ready to put them in the oven, you can put them in frozen, or you can take them out that morning and they're ready to go by lunchtime. Righto.